sentencing hasn't happened, but I'm guessing they're looking at.
They're probably looking at 20 to life, I would think, the max, because they went to trial. Once you go to trial, you gamble, and you lose. So you're in trial now, and then now the U.S. Attorney's Office is telling his attorneys will probably ask for probably a better deal or something that they got convicted, and hey, that don't go so heavy on them. But the U.S. Attorney may have to go by the guidelines that they have. They have to abide by it. And they might say, no, there's nothing we can do. They have to do this. And they're not going to be here. They'll be in Florida or Pennsylvania or one of the maximum federal prisons, where they are.
Oh, okay.
They don't come here to go out of state. I doubt they'll be in New York once they're sentenced.
Oh, do they go to camps?
They go to federal prisons.
Okay.
Like they'll be in Florida or they'll be in Pennsylvania. They'll be in the high max prisons that the feds have for really bad criminals, like murderers and things like that. They have certain penitentiaries for them.
Wow. Well, when the verdict came out, I wasn't in court to see this, but I heard there was a big outburst from
his family,
from the families of Carl Jordan and Tenard.
Look, you gotta look at it. I think there was something like 30 people that testified, right? You can even look at me. Like I said, I wasn't there, but the government did a good job of bringing back all the people that were involved. Like I said, the drug sellers, the guys that were part of the organization that sold drugs, his friends, the guy in jail who said Carl Jordan told him he was going to kill the guy or he shot him. There were so many people they brought in that testified. And how do you, with all those witnesses, how do you not, in a way, come back with a verdict, I can see if it was like 1-to-1, but you had so many people that were involved in this case. So, a verdict was sort of inevitable. And then the testimony of the two people that were in the studio, Lydia and Tony, I don't know if I know that Tony pointed out both of them, Carl Jordan Jr. and Ronald Tenard, but I think Lydia, I don't know what Lydia did, but I'm sure she pointed them out, said these are the people in the studio that came in with the guns. Right. So how do you get around that? It's hard to get around that. With all these witnesses and all the people that testified, it's like the government wasn't playing. They were bringing everybody they could in to win this case, which they did.
Right. Well, there's that for the J&J case. What do you think that's going on in the world now that it seems like, as far as these hip-hop murders, they're getting, like you're seeing arrests being made and justice finally coming down on these old...
Well, you see, you see Gunner, I guess, in the YSL. Yeah. That thing's still going on, his trial. Yeah. But don't think it's taking a lot out of him, too. Isn't his girlfriend Mariah the scientist?
I think so.
Right? I think she might. I say I follow these things, right?
Yeah.
But, this guy here and his defense team, it's hard to get around certain things when the federal government gets involved. Like they linked him to a RICO investigation. And, you had people that testified that said, hey, yeah, he was the one that did this. And yeah, he was part of that. Casanova as well. Look what happened to Casanova. I met Casanova. I mean, we're not personal friends. I knew him, but I'm pretty sure by now he's saying that why did he get involved in this stupid nonsense that he did where someone was killed and he was part of an organization where they just sentenced him. He got sentenced not too long ago. He's upstate, in jail for a long time. And you're right. These guys come out of jail, like they don't want to go back. Bobby Schmurda will be the first one to tell you, because I know about his case too. He don't want to go back to jail. He wants to go do his concerts. I think he was in London somewhere and one of the promoters didn't pay him. He went crazy. Yeah. They weren't supposed to pay him his money. But, if you're a rapper, you should be out here making money. You should be doing your venues like Chris Brown right now. He's got some financial difficulties with a lawsuit. But he's going to go on tour and do 30 shows in 30 cities or whatever it is. And he's going to make a lot of money. He'll be able to pay that off in no time. But that's what you should be doing. Doing concerts, promoting your brand, not fighting with each other. Mm-hmm. This thing with Megan and Megan Thee Stallion and then Nicki Minaj. All right. And then things like this start, and it always starts on records, right? It always starts in like radio, because radio hypes it up. The next thing you know, these guys see each other at a concert hall or at a party or at a club. And that's when, oh yeah, here's her squad, here's his squad. And that's how these fights happen, or these arguments happen, or these disputes. Mm-hmm. You're supposed to be out here. And listen, the police are watching as well. they're watching, and they're better at solving these cases now. I went to a gang meeting with Mount Vernon, Yonkers PD, and all the state guys up in Westchester, maybe about a month ago. And these guys are very on top of things that are going on with these gangs, especially these rappers. A lot of these drill rappers that are coming up right now. A lot of these guys are looking into them and watching them and see how they move. You know, what people they move with. You know, because certain crimes get committed, and you're a rapper and you're tied to a certain crew of people. That's kind of bad for you, because now these guys are looking not only for your crew, but they're looking for you too. Right. So your rap career will take a nosedive. It won't be the same anymore, where you can't be out here making money. And the goal to be a rapper, let's face it, is to be big. You want to be out here, you want to be like an NBA young boy or NL Chopper or Blueface, who, see how he got in trouble, right?
Right.
And now he's in jail, and he's hoping to get out. So I'm pretty sure he doesn't like it in there, and he can't wait to get out, get back into what he's doing. But a lot of these rappers have been on social media now. Now we have a new regime of rappers that are on social media now. Like, you listen to their music and you listen to them, and I'm like, damn. Like, I joked with Eric B one day. I said, Eric, you don't know who this guy is? And he said, Derek, who the hell's Little Buddy? He didn't know. And then you hear, what's my man's name? He's part of the Charlotte Hornets. Cole. He's rapping, yo, I don't know Little Buddy. You can't rep a Little Buddy. You can't rep a guy who's been in the streets if you don't know the streets, right?
Right.
And he's talking about him because he didn't really know who this guy was. But social media is big right now. Social media is another big problem. And the police are watching, and so the government. They're watching to see what happens out here, you know, see the beefs and everything else. Because, you know, the problem is that sometimes when these rappers come out, or even when people get shot, there's collateral damage. You know, you shoot the person you shoot at, you missed him and shot 5 other people, you know? And listen, it happens. I was in a seminar with police in Georgia, and I told them the same thing. You guys got to be on top of what goes on in your city. But Derek, how do we know? Social media, the word of the streets, you have community fairs. Right. They should be talking to the venues, the clubs, the restaurants, the bars. Who's coming tonight? What do you guys expect, especially on holidays, especially on, you know, like the 4th of July weekend? Look, Miami's having spring break, and they're already putting out ads now. They're telling people, hey, look, don't come to Miami and mess up. We're going to be out here. We're going to be watching. I went to Miami back in 2000, and I told them about an event. And the cop told me on the phone, hey, man, we don't tell you big city guys how to run your city. We know how to run our city. Okay. Next thing you know, there were $6 million worth of damages that they did at this hip-hop event that took place for like 2 weeks down there. And the mayor was pissed. And he called me up, and I had to go to Miami. And now I had to go and talk to the Miami PD, the Miami Police, Miami PD, their Metro Division, everything else, and tell them during the Source Awards, when they had the Source Awards down there. But it was different back then. You know, the police were not so much on hip-hop. Now, you have to pay attention to things like this, like these cases that go on, because sometimes they have a ripple effect, you know? Like you said, spring break, you know, everybody's going to go down there, you know? And the biggest thing is you got to worry about who's going to get shot.
Right.
If I have a young teenage kid, a daughter or son, I'm worried. I'm like, oh man, I hope my kid ain't going down there and getting no trouble, get caught in something, you know? But I don't have kids, so for me it doesn't work. But I had nieces and nephews, and I tell them too, I don't want them to go down there. And, you know, I have friends that, godchildren, I don't want them to go down there and get into something crazy where they get involved in something, you know?
Right.